Hello, good evening to you. A life sentence of grief is how a mother has described losing her 5-month-old baby after he was shaken to death by his stepfather in a fit of rage. Jensen Lee Dougal was killed after suffering catastrophic brain damage in March 2024. 29-year-old Thomas Morgan from Gorseinon will serve a minimum jail term of 19 years for the murder. Dean Thomas Welch has been following the trial at Swansea Crown Court and is there for us this evening. Dean, it's a truly tragic case, isn't it?
That's right, Andrea. Thomas Morgan showed no emotion as he was sentenced to life in prison in a packed courtroom. He turned to his family and blew them a kiss as he was taken down to the cells. Now, throughout this trial, Thomas Morgan has failed to take responsibility for the brutal murder of 5-month-old baby Jensen Lee Dougal.
Are you there at the moment with the baby?
Pardon?
How old is the baby?
6 months.
6 months old.
The chilling call made by Thomas Morgan minutes after murdering a defenceless 5-month-old baby.
Is the baby male or female?
Female.
Is he breathing?
He's like, he's getting deep breaths out here that everybody wants. I don't know what he's doing out there. Someone doing CPR.
Today, the 29-year-old from Gorseinon was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of Jensen Lee Dougal at the home he shared with Jensen's mother in the village of Clydach.
I never had the chance to hear Jensen Lee say he loved me. And I'll never hear him call me mammy. I'll never see him take his first steps, speak his first words, start school or grow into the person he was meant to be. These moments were not just lost, they were taken. Due to what Thomas Morgan did, I've also received a life sentence, but mine is of grief. Jensen Lee will never be forgotten, and I love you forever, Jensen Lee.
A murder trial at Swansea Crown Court heard Morgan was asked to care for Jensen Lee in March 2024, while the baby's mother was at work. The jury were told an argument with Morgan's previous partner on the morning of the murder had caused him to explode with anger. Back at his girlfriend's home, Morgan violently shook the baby in a fit of rage, causing catastrophic brain injuries. Neighbours tried frantically to provide CPR to Jensen Lee, but he succumbed to his injuries a day later in hospital.
While Thomas Morgan will now spend many years in prison, no sentence can ever ease the heartbreak felt by Jensen Lee's family, especially his mother Jordan, his grandparents Lucy and Michael, who trusted Thomas Morgan to care for her son, only to be met with the ultimate betrayal.
Morgan maintained his innocence throughout his trial. He told the court that Jensen Lee had choked on sick, which caused him to panic and shake the infant. However, the court heard that Morgan delayed calling an ambulance as he tried to cover up the murder of Jensen Lee. A jury took a matter of hours to find Morgan guilty of murder and another count of causing grievous bodily harm with intent. Tonight, Morgan begins a life sentence for the cruel murder of a happy and innocent Jensen Lee Dougal.
And Dean, what did the judge say in court today when sentencing Morgan?
Yeah, well, the judge said that no sentence passed down by this court could change what had happened to Jensen Lee's family. She told Thomas Morgan that he was treated as a stepfather to Jensen Lee from the very beginning, and it appeared he had a good bond with him. The judge added there was no way of knowing of what happened to Jensen Lee on the day of his murder because Thomas Morgan had lied to the police and everyone else he had spoken to since. Thomas Morgan will serve a minimum of 19 years in prison.
Dean Thomas Welch in Swansea for us, thank you. Now, after what's been a difficult winter for many households, with people worrying about the cost of heating their homes, there is finally some welcome news today. From the 1st of April, the energy price cap will fall by 7% for a typical dual-fuel household, bringing the average bill for gas and electricity to just over £1,640 a year. Well, I'm joined now in the studio by our Consumer Affairs reporter, Kate Lewis. It's nice to hopefully be saying something positive about some energy prices. Many of our viewers will welcome it, I'm sure.
Yes, definitely. Andrea. Today's announcement is bucking the trend we've all become so used to. Our bills are going down, not up. From the 1st of April, our gas and electricity prices will in fact be the lowest they've been since September 2024, coming down by 6.6%. Why? Well, the energy regulator Ofgem has announced it's reducing the energy price cap. That's the maximum rate at which energy can be charged. So what will that mean for your pocket? Well, it's a saving of around £10 per month or £117 a year for the average household using both gas and electricity. And it's not just those on price cap variable tariffs who will benefit this time. People with fixed deals will also see their bills drop. So why is this happening now? Well, the UK government says it's committed to reducing our bills by £300 by 2030. And this announcement today is a result of changes to policy made in last November's budget. But look, it is worth noting that energy rates are still considerably higher than they were 5 years ago. And here in Wales, it's worse than in other areas. Even after this reduction, North Wales remains the most expensive region across Great Britain, with annual gas and electricity bills on average costing almost £90 more. South Wales doesn't fare much better. Here we have the third highest energy bills, and overall 25% of households in Wales are currently living in fuel poverty. What do you need to do now? Well, look out for communications from your provider with more information about your new rates, as actual savings will depend on how much energy individual households use. And now, Andrea, may be a good time to shop around.
That's what we always say, isn't it, to shop around. Kate, thanks very much indeed. So while for many households today's announcement means lower bills, there is concern this is a short-term saving by the UK government. And joining me now to discuss this further is Ben Saltmarsh from National Energy Action. Ben, welcome. Kate mentioned just there that bills in Wales are higher than in some parts of the UK. So good news, but then sobering thought to leave us with there. What's behind this?
No, absolutely, yeah. I mean, put simply, energy bills cost more in Wales. The price of energy costs more. In reality, the GB-wide energy price cap and the figure that's quoted every quarter is a GB-wide average, but in practice it varies depending on where you live, as well as by how much you use, as Kate said, and by how you pay. Now, as Kate said, the most expensive regions across all of Great Britain is in North Wales and Mersey, costs almost £100 more a year for the same thing, and South Wales is third.
So having said that, how significant is today's announcement? Will all the people we've just mentioned in different parts of Wales benefit?
Yeah, well, of course, I mean, it's welcome news, of course it is. You know, any drop in energy bills is needed and welcome. Hopefully it'll help relieve some of the pressure a bit on households, but probably only a bit. We're talking about, you know, an average saving of £10 a month. It's not that long ago, actually, that average energy bills were £1,000 a year, not £1,600, £1,700. And 5 years on, and 5 years after punishing prices, more than 4 in 5 of all our low-income households across Wales are living in fuel poverty. You know, many living in cold, damp homes and actually carrying significant amounts of debt on their energy bills just from trying to keep warm and keep the lights on.
So people will still be having to watch their usage.
No, you know, and absolutely, and while welcome, a modest fall in energy bills isn't going to fix that plight.
And is there enough support for those you've just mentioned that have fallen into fuel poverty to have help with struggling, if they're struggling with their bills?
No, support is available, and if you are concerned, you know, please do reach out to organisations such as National Energy Action, Warm Wales, Care and Repair, Citizens Advice, your local authority and your energy supplier and whoever else there may be locally. But more support is certainly needed. You know, I mentioned the debt that households are in. We need Ofgem and UK government to deliver meaningful debt relief to those households who had no means and no choice but to fall behind with their energy bills during the course of the crisis, and reforms to make energy genuinely more affordable. And at the same time, I think more broadly, and perhaps one of the most important things, is that we make sure that short-term relief does not replace long-term action. You know, the UK government has a new £15 billion Warm Homes plan. About a third of that is to provide grants for low-income households, fundamentally to permanently reduce their energy bills by improving the energy efficiency of their homes. That's a major opportunity. Devolved implications for Wales are not yet clear, but Wales should receive a sizable consequential for that funding. And so the key question now, ahead of the Senedd elections, is whether all of that funding will get spent to the same mission, ultimately to make sure, you know, the homes of those most in need are much warmer, greener and healthier places to live.
It's a complex picture, I'm sure it'll be something to be talked about in the run-up to the election. Ben, thanks very much indeed. Elsewhere tonight, campaigners have praised a decision in the Senedd last night to back a move that may bring legalised assisted dying a step closer. A majority of Senedd members voted to give consent to the controversial UK Parliament's planned change in the law as it affects Wales. It could pave the way for services to be available on the NHS here, although such a change is still a long way off, as our political editor Adrian Masters reports.
This is the all-new Senedd chamber, made bigger to make room for more Senedd members after May's election. Last night, those members who are there already faced a decision that was about as big as they get. They're back in Carmarthenshire now, but these two campaigners for assisted dying were in the Senedd last night watching closely. They both have chronic conditions and both back the right to choose when to die.
We were very pleased that it went through. It's a real important step for Wales. We feel it's hugely important that a person can be in control of their own. Well, you control everything else in your life, so why wouldn't you be able to control when it ended? And it's something we do feel passionately about, isn't it?
Yeah, we've both had periods of being bedbound, so we know what the reality looks like for us at the end, and we work hard to be able to enjoy time with our family and friends and do things that we enjoy. And at the moment, you know, we're enjoying life. But we know in the future, and hopefully it's a long way off, we will be in bed, not being able to move, having to have every care done to us by someone else. And that's just not a future we want for ourselves or for our family.
Senedd members weren't voting on the principle. They don't have the power to legalise assisted dying or not. But they do have a say on how it might be introduced here in Wales. And for many, that was too much.
The state's priority, in my view, should be to support people at the end of their lives, to alleviate suffering, not to help them commit suicide.
This bill is no way to treat vulnerable human beings. There is a reason why so many palliative care doctors are against it.
But supporters of the change said Wales needs to play a full part in it.
I think would be, irresponsible not to do, within the powers we've got, to do what we can to ensure that we have the power here to make the services as good as we can.
This is a debate that's far from over, and its impact will be felt long after the current members have gone. After all, it's a matter of life and death. Adrian Masters, ITV News.
Ruth joins me now, and how is the forecast looking then for the next few days?
Well, I think I can sum it up by saying warm rain, but there is a glimmer of hope for next week as spring looks set to bring something ever so slightly more settled.
From warm rain to something to warm your hearts now. Why, Asher the hero Staffy is hoping for a special honour at this year's Crufts. First, though, tonight, horse owners say they're facing a hefty price for hay this year. It's costing almost twice as much as this time last year, and experts say it's all down to our changing climate. So what alternatives are there for feeding horses in the future? Our rural affairs and climate correspondent Hannah Thomas has been finding out more.
Lunchtime for Eleri the cob. Abby Roberts is feeding the horses at the Equine Centre in Bridgend College using hay nets. They feast on the hay slower, and they need to because it costs a lot, and more people are getting horses.
It's becoming a bit more of an ongoing trend at the minute. People are wanting to buy horses, so that is probably where everybody is now looking for hay, and a lot more people are coming out of riding schools and getting their own ponies or horses and wanting to start up from the ground.
You go down to the box and then just come up with your
Tutor Carmen Bloxham says the price of hay has nearly doubled in a year, and that's because the long drought last summer meant the grass didn't grow and there was less hay made, and there could continue to be in the changing climate.
We're obviously trying to educate the next generation, and we're trying to help them understand what could they feed those horses, how best to manage them, how to stop them getting fat is also a problem because we have an abundance of grass maybe at some times of the year and we see rapid weight gain. And then, of course, later on we might then have the drought and then there's no grass.
There are already alternatives to grass or hay, but they are expensive.
Well, we've got two examples here of hay replacements. The chaff in the red scoop is around £12 for 12 kilos, but a horse could eat that in a single day. And the grass nuts in the purple scoop are around £23 per bag.
The arrival of another spring is near.
Is the grass as you'd expect it to be now, Dave?
David John is the agriculture lecturer here. He says that crops other than grass may need to be grown in the future.
I think lucerne is probably okay for horses. It's sometimes referred to as alfalfa, so that can be fed, but it may depend on the type of horse. Coxfoot could be, that's another deep-rooting plant which could probably be fed to horses safely.
There's believed to be nearly 50,000 horses in Wales, but feeding them in a changing climate won't be easy or cheap and will require perhaps a little more thought. Hannah Thomas, ITV News in Pencoed.
It's 17 minutes past 6. You're watching Wales at 6. A reminder of our top story. A stepfather has been jailed for life for shaking his partner's 5-month-old baby to death in a fit of rage. Jensen Lee Dougal died after suffering catastrophic brain damage in March 2024. 29-year-old Thomas Morgan from Gosainon will serve a minimum jail term of 19 years. Still to come on the ITV Evening News.
Coming up on the programme, the Commons Speaker, Sir Lindsay Hoyle, says he was the one who passed information to the police about Peter Mandelson being a flight risk. Mandelson claimed it was a baseless suggestion that he might flee the country. Energy bills will be cut from April, but is it by as much as the Chancellor had promised? And the swimmer who's winning gold medals in the pool well into his 80s. Do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Mary with you shortly. Time now for a look at some of the sports headlines.
Powering local sport in the community. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Cymru Wales Sports Report.
In rugby, Scarlet's back row Tame Plumtree has been released from the Wales squad due to a shoulder injury which he sustained during their Six Nations defeat to Scotland on Saturday. Meanwhile, fly half Sam Costello still remains in contention for the remaining fixtures of the tournament as he continues to recover from an ankle injury. Wales face Ireland next Friday. Wales striker Hannah Kane says it would be incredible to reach next year's Football World Cup in Brazil. Priyan Wilkinson's side begin their qualifiers against Czechia on Tuesday before welcoming Montenegro the following Saturday. Wales are hoping to build on playing at their first major tournament last summer.
Obviously our first major tournament last year just gone, that was absolutely immense and incredible, and you never think it's going to get any better, and then once that's done, you're like, oh, OK, what's next? And then you're like, oh, amazing, World Cup in Brazil. Absolutely, why not? And I'm sure you guys all want to be there as well. So we'll try and do our best. But yeah, that's the next goal. And obviously these games lead us into that.
Why not indeed? And US rapper Snoop Dogg watched the football team he co-owns play for the first time last night. A sellout crowd at Swansea City welcomed the megastar before their championship match against Preston North End. Matt Southcombe was watching the action.
It was the night that Swansea City went delirious for the D-O-double-G. A record home crowd packed out the Swansea.com to welcome rap royalty. Your eyes do not deceive you.
I feel like I'm in a fever dream, really. Yeah, it's mad, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
For the last couple of weeks, we've been putting songs on in the car every time we go to do my school runs. Bit of swearing before school doesn't hurt.
Brings so many eyes, also with everything he's involved in.
people are going to look at this now and see what he's involved in and see he's involved with the Swans, and hopefully bring a bigger picture on Swansea City Football Club, and a lot more eyes and a lot more money.
Before the game, Snoop whipped the crowd into a frenzy. But it took this 95th minute header from Liam Cullen to salvage a point against Preston, much to the delight of the club's co-owner.
He was really happy. He was really happy because he felt that the team had the right mentality, he felt that the team could push. It's good for him to be involved, really happy for us that we have someone like him who loves the club, loves the city, wants to be here, and I think that's all positive.
The visitors arrived focused on the job at hand, despite the man in the stands. But Preston manager Paul Heckingbottom did notice one thing out of the ordinary.
No, I think just the smell of weed in the tunnel is the only thing that we realised something was different.
And with that, he was gone. But it was a night that will live long in the memories of everyone who was there when Snoop Dogg touched down in Swansea.
What an extraordinary evening. Well, from one dog to another now. Asha, the staffy from Carmarthen, is on her way to Crufts next month. She's been nominated for a special hero award for the support she provides her owner, Logan. Logan has cerebral palsy and Asha is always by his side night or day, providing comfort and companionship. Lewis Rhys-Jones went to meet them both to find out more.
The perfect example of man's best friend. Asha, the Staffordshire Bull Terrier, is always there for Logan. They're quite simply an inseparable force.
She's a normal dog. Like, she's playful. She makes me giggle. All of those things. Gently.
17-year-old Logan has cerebral palsy and mitochondrial disease. He requires ongoing medical care, and Asha plays a key role in his everyday life.
She is just his emotional support and all the support. She's just incredible. If he's having a bad day, she'll go and cuddle him and everything's okay in the world again. She sleeps at the bottom of his bed every night without fail, watching him, keeping an eye. School runs, she knows when it's time to do the school run. She sits by the door and waits for me, as if to say, come on, Mum. I think they both knew they needed each other.
The 8-year-old staffy means everything to her family, and she will soon be appearing at this year's Crufts as a Hero Dog Award finalist.
I was scrolling on Facebook, saw Crufts were advertising. I was like, oh, that'd be nice. Show the world. And I applied, didn't think anything of it. And then I had a call to say that they'd made it to the final. And I didn't remember what I'd applied for. But yeah, it was a big shock. I haven't even thought about winning, because it wasn't about that. It was about showing her and the breed then, giving them the recognition they deserve. So it's not about winning. I mean, it would be nice, but...
Cherry on the cake.
Yeah.
Now Logan, Donna and the rest of the family are looking forward to a trip to Birmingham in March, where they will cheer on their very own hero, Asha. Lewis Rhys-Jones, ITV News, Carmarthen.
Already a winner in our eyes.
Absolutely, but if ever a dog could look less bothered about being nominated for an award, it must have been Asha.
Very humble, very
absolutely,
humble.
but richly deserved as well.
Is the little bit of sunshine we've had going to stay around?
I did say little bit of sunshine earlier, and we did see a little bit of sunshine today, and, well, we might see a little bit of sunshine over the next few days, but you'll probably have to wait until the coming weekend before you see any of it. Now then, speaking of sunshine, we did have a little bit today. And actually, temperatures here in Cardiff have topped out at around 14 degrees as compared to the rest of the UK. We had 18 in the southeast. You can see across the board, we are several degrees above the average for the time of year. And that's actually meant it's felt pretty decent out there, hasn't it? Especially if you did catch that sunshine. Now, as far as the next few days are concerned, it is going to remain generally mild, but we end the week on a relatively, well, frankly, wet and windy footing. But we're going to skip past that because as we head into the coming weekend, you'll start to notice things settling down just a little bit. And if you are making plans, possibly make outdoorsy plans for Saturday. It's shaping up to be a little bit drier and brighter, and the signs are that into next week we'll see some calmer weather as well. But we are not quite there just yet. Bit of weather to get through first. Here are the details.
Outbreaks of ancient sites will gradually settle into an evening of pizza plates al fresco. TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
All very grey and gloomy out there at the moment with a few scattered showers, but actually we're looking at a largely dry night for much of Wales. Could see a further few showers working their way in by the early hours, but nothing too heavy. The winds will remain quite strong throughout though, and because of the low cloud and that mist and murk I mentioned, the temperatures are actually going to remain very mild indeed, barely dipping below 9 or 10 degrees, which for this time of the year is mild. So a mild and murky start then to tomorrow morning, largely dry, but don't get caught out because as you can see, it's going to go downhill very quickly indeed with a band of rain that'll work its way into the west. Some heavy downpours, particularly over the hills and mountains across western areas. The further east you go, the further inland, this is where you'll see the best of any drier weather. But I think really sunshine is going to be rather limited. In fact, I don't think we'll see any sunshine at all. That cloud is going to persist. And like today, we could see winds gusting 25, but even gale force around more exposed coastal areas and possibly over the hill and mountain tops too. So not particularly pleasant conditions. Still mild, although slightly fresher than today. We're looking at highs of around 12 or 13, particularly further inland where you should escape the worst of that rainfall. As we head through Thursday evening then, that band of rain will continue its journey eastward, so be careful on the roads. We could see some nasty conditions, and we've got a deep area of low pressure then bringing more rain into Thursday night. So as we wake then to Friday, the worst of it should have cleared, although it doesn't look particularly pleasant, does it? But you can see as we head through into the afternoon, it effectively swirls around, eases as it goes. So Friday afternoon looks slightly calmer and quieter. We could actually end the week with a little bit of sunshine. Not much though.
TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
Always careful to say not too much and don't get too excited because it's a little bit of sunshine, but at this time of the year, that's absolutely better than nothing.
After what we've had, yeah.
Exactly.
But you're managing our expectations. I like it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us this Wednesday evening. There's plenty more on ITVX and YouTube from us, though. Bye-bye.